My name is Greg Kutzbach, Group Leader for Group 2, and today I'm going to be discussing workplace optimism and its correlation to improved worker productivity. This is Group 2, one of roughly a dozen groups in Dr. Sharif's Fall 2018 Principles of Management at Cal Poly Pomona, MHR3010, Section 10. We are a diverse co-ed group ranging from traditional college student with no job experience to adult with years of experience and a life that reflects that. The range of age, experience, and diversity has added a depth to our understanding that would have not been possible with a more homogeneous group. First, let's explain the meaning of key words we're about to throw around. And what's the problem? And what are we proposing to help solve the problem? Let's start with workplace optimism. What is workplace optimism? It is a workplace belief that good things will come from work. That's a huge statement when you think about it. Every day, if you go into work and you think to yourself, I am going to make a difference in this office. I am connected to this company. I am appreciated and the company cares about me. With that mindset, there may just be a semblance of a chance that you will be more productive than a worker with a, let's just call it, less optimistic mindset. Don't you think? Next, we have performance. Don't confuse performance with just being busy. Having high performance means doing a job well and helping your company move towards its goals. Performance is all about achieving results. Productivity. This relates to how well a worker or the workforce accomplishes your company's goals. Collectively, these efforts help the company move towards the company vision. A worker with high performance has the potential for having high productivity. The worker achieves that productivity by keeping up that good work. A company wants its workers to do their jobs well, aka be high performing. It also wants its workers to achieve goals both individually and as a company, aka be productive. Management often catalogs workplace optimism, happiness, and wellness separately from business strategy, effectiveness, and profitability. Employees are the backbones of any business. Without them, all the strategizing, budgeting, and scheming by executive captains of the company would never amount to much. Our argument centers on one notion. An employee optimistic about their workplace is more productive than an employee that is not optimistic about their workplace. We will argue that an optimistic employee is less costly and more profitable than a less optimistic employee. When an employee feels happy about their now and optimistic about their future, they will work more efficiently and productively. A more productive employee increases the returns created by the company's workforce and collected by the company. In turn, productivity in the workplace is increased by increasing workplace optimism. Employees contribute physical labor, mental labor, and knowledge to provide a service or a product. They do this to help achieve the company's goals. Obviously, high employee performance and productivity is advantageous and desirable. Sadly, that attribute is not inherent in even the best of employees. We will show that there are many human factors influencing employee productivity. These factors can be composed of stress, recognition, miscommunication, emotional exhaustion, and others that are just as invisible. Improving employee optimism as a conduit to maximizing productivity and business returns is the focal point of this research. Remember, businesses don't give away money for free. Investing in employees is beneficial and has to be beneficial for the business in order for them to do this. Study of these human factors and how to provide clear pathways for management to improve productivity, profits, and make a better workplace will be explained.
Methodology. The research method used to build and support this purpose was a cumulative process of gathering information through various sources. Literature research and studies confirm increased productivity supported by employee optimism. The effective methods used to increase optimism were studied. Main factors in improving workplace optimism include mentorship, company benefits, perks, and incentives, as well as effective communication. Using this research, a survey was built to gather information from the employee perspective. Lastly, the interviews were conducted to obtain the perspective of managers on productivity, communication, and the individual methods they use to influence optimism in the workplace.
Communication is an essential skill set that every employee in organizations and companies should have. There are effective communication and poor communication, and as it sounds, one can leverage the company's profit workflow while the other damages and obstruct the workflow. Effective communication is a clear flow of information. This creates an efficient flow of information that is being passed through from initial sender to receiver, then again from the first sender to the second receiver, and continues until the last receiver got the information and they understand it clearly. This avoids any confusion and mistake that can be made during work and projects. And for the communications to be effective and efficient, there are 5 components to consider. The first component is initial message sender. It is the job of the first message sender to be clear about what they're saying and stating. The second component is context of the message. This is the tone, the expression, and the mood of the message. The third component is receiver. The receiver must be able to understand the message that is being sent. The fourth is method of delivery. This is how the message is delivered, such as email, text, verbally. Lastly, the last component is content of the message. The content of the message, what is being stated in the message regarding objective, goals, they should be clear and clever for the receiver to understand completely. Poor communications not only obstruct the workflow, it can also lower workplace optimism. In worst case scenario, it can also lead to failure of projects, loss of profits, and millions of dollars. Communication is a very simple set of skills, but mastering it can be very tricky. Because it is easy, many think they can communicate well and clear, but without realizing that sometimes the person on the receiving end is very confused and not following. To avoid poor communication, follow the 5 components of effective communication. Teamwork is just like communication. Teamwork is one of the pillars in the organizations that keep it running. Teamwork is practiced today in every organization. Examples are businesses, sports, and military. So why teamwork? Consider taking on a large order of clothing designs. Imagine about 1,000 units of clothing that must be completed and shipped within a week. Tackling this order alone is very challenging and time-consuming. You also have to make sure the expected quality is met. However, once split into teamwork, everyone has specific tasks, and not only does it make the job efficient, you can also avoid rushing orders and producing low-quality clothing. The essence of teamwork. Team building exercise is commonly practiced among the organizations today. And for the teamwork to be effective, team building exercise must be practiced frequently. Let's take a look at better tips for teamwork. The picture I have included on the right side of the slide. The very first step, the team understands the goals and is committed to attaining them. The team must know what the goal is and why it is, and they must be committed to it. This is a guideline for the organizations and its employee to follow in order to achieve success. The second step is communication. Everyone must be heard and listened to, and their opinion must be respected. And this creates stronger relationship amongst colleagues. And this goes into next step, where your colleagues are willing to take risk because they know you have their back. Now that you have this closeness amongst colleagues, they are willing to spend time together to produce quality work and make quality decisions. And this leads to organizational success because of teamwork producing quality work. Hi, I'm Ong Peng, and I'm going to be going over employee safety and wellness. Safety standard is a common practice in every workplace. Employees safety. Safety, safety, safety. These three words are the first three words I've learned since I started working my very first job. Safety is important to any workplace. Injured employee not only costs money for workers' compensation, they may also lose manpower if the employee cannot work. In worst case scenarios such as death, company must pay compensation or may face lawsuit. Laws and regulations. To avoid loss of life and employees' injuries, law and regulations has been created and established. Work-related accidents and death result in loss of manpower and productivity. To provide better rights and working conditions for employees, a labor agency called OSHA, also known as Occupational Safety and Health Act, it was established to keep employers in check. OSHA enforces workplace safety and wellness regulations, as well as requiring employers to document any injuries and incidents that take place at work. Employees' wellness. Employees' health and wellness does not apply to physical health alone. Emotional wellness is also as important as physical wellness, and there must be balance of both. Emotionally troubled employee can lower productivity, and not only the individual productivity, but also as well as the entire workplace productivity, thus lowering the output. Sometimes the emotions such as anger and depression can pose threat to entire workplace as well. Moreover, troubled employee is a liability. They are a liability because they tend to exhibit harmful and careless behaviors, and this leaves them vulnerable to workplace injury and dangers.
Cost of labor is one of a company's largest expenses. It really isn't just an expense though, is it? It's more of an investment. These employees are the company. An employee should want them to improve with time. They should want their investment to grow with time. To improve an employee, a company will invest in that employee through training and mentorship. Through this, an employee will work more efficiently, increase their breadth and depth of skills, and be happier. Happy employees is a key here. If for any reason an employee is not happy and satisfied with their job, they may leave the company. This is known as turnover. A lost employee is a large expense for a company. Not only that, but a company with a high turnover rate has low employee morale. The money spent to find the employee, the money spent to train the employee, the time spent mentoring an employee, it's all lost, nothing to show for it. To add insult to injury, the company will have to spend the money to find and mold a new employee yet again, wasting money and time and effort. All of this decreases the company's efficiency, productivity, and profits. Cliff note for all you viewers out there, keep your employees. Speaking of keeping your employees, companies should hire from within. If training is part of a healthy company culture, then it only makes sense to promote from within. Employers such as Motel 6 noted improved statistics in employee turnover, company satisfaction, and overall productivity after implementing programs to groom employees for general manager positions. This is also the reasoning for many major companies adopting strategies to hire from within. According to economist Paul Romer, economic growth occurs when people take resources and rearrange them in ways that makes them more valuable. Employees should be rearranged over and over again to increase their value and help bring growth to companies.
Effective training is vital to the success of a company. Training teaches lower-level employees to perform their duties efficiently and safely in most cases. It also provides employees with an opportunity to increase their knowledge and skills in order to improve their position in the workplace. Formal training is a large investment for businesses. On average, U.S. businesses spend more than $125 billion annually to provide formal training to their employees. If not done correctly, this money ends up as a large expense rather than an investment. Ineffective training also damages a company's ability to succeed. Lack of proper training leads to unconfident and ineffective workers who lack the knowledge on how to properly work their positions. This leads to increased stress in individual employees as they struggle to get their work done on a daily basis, while also damaging the morale of the team as other employees are forced to correct mistakes committed by the untrained employees, while also picking up where they fall behind. In the end, the ramifications snowball into a burden on the company as they shift from properly training new employees to constantly hiring people to fill gaps in employment. The best way to achieve results when implementing training strategies is to make it a part of the company culture. Rather than simply teaching employees to do the tasks associated with their job, companies should develop a culture that promotes continuous improvement while developing a training model that frames employees' work in a meaningful manner. The job characteristics model developed by psychologists J. Richard Hackman and Greg Oldham is an example businesses can utilize when developing training models. In this model, there are 5 core job dimensions that each contribute to how meaningful a job will be to employees. Skill variety refers to the variety of tasks and activities performed. Task identity refers to the worker's ability to complete their entire work from start to finish, and task significance refers to the impact the employee's work has on others. Autonomy is the employee's freedom and independence while on the job and can refer to flexible scheduling as long as deadlines are met, or the freedom to complete the job without being micromanaged. Feedback is utilized to provide employees with areas where they can improve while providing positive reinforcement for tasks completed successfully. When employers combine skill variety, task identity, and task significance in job design, they create meaningful work that employees view as important, valuable, and worthwhile. In combination with high autonomy, employees gain a sense of personal responsibility for results, while feedback shows the employee how effective they are performing. Building on the feedback value of the job characteristic model, professional mentors are the individuals in the best position to provide employees with beneficial feedback on how to improve the quality of their work. While formal training attempts to provide the knowledge necessary to perform the job, mentors fill the gaps in knowledge missed in training. Workplace mentors, while providing feedback for continuous improvement, also improve employee morale by providing a first point of contact for any questions on work-related tasks. Mentors also improve the quality of communication by interacting with employees on a deeper level beyond work and results. In the event of a mistake or emergency occurring on the job, mentors can also help ensure stress levels don't overwhelm employees by providing assistance. This last point also contributes to the employee's overall level of confidence while on the job, as they know that if faced with a difficult situation at work, they are not left alone to handle it. As stated before with the idea of building effective training models, mentorship roles are most successful when implemented as a core value of the company's culture. Companies must emphasize that mentors are not simply your superiors at work, but coworkers with more seniority and job experience.
Incentives and benefits. Group incentive pay has been a way for companies to incentivize employees and increase performance. Profit sharing is associated with a positive workplace culture. The positive associations with workplace culture include employee trust, employee participation, sharing of information, and supervision of other employees. A positive workplace culture has been linked to a lower voluntary turnover rate. It is important to analyze the arguments against increasing employee optimism. There are two disadvantages when it comes to increasing optimism. Methods can be very costly to the company and possibly time-consuming for management. Incentives and benefits are added costs to labor. Methods such as upgrade opportunities, training, and bonuses can further add to these costs. It is important to note that increasing optimism does not have to be costly. Increasing optimism can be done through daily management practice and effective HR policies. Arguably, some costs can be outweighed by the long-term benefits. These benefits include a smaller voluntary turnover rate, goal achievement, maximum utilization of skills, and of course, increased productivity. Survey. A 10-question survey was conducted with 70 responses to analyze if management practices were instituting employee optimism. The survey was targeted towards either previously employed or currently employed participants who have worked in a company with a multi-level management structure. The purpose of this survey is to see which methods of increasing employee optimism are being used and gain insight on the state of the company from the employee perspective. Results indicate 3 common methods used by managers to increase optimism. 78.6% of respondents' workplaces had a clear and positive mission statement. 78.6% of respondents stated their company offers on-the-job training to keep employees current with their job. 74.3% of respondents stated their company offered paid benefits such as sick leave, vacation time, and medical insurance. Some methods for increasing employee optimism were not as common. 45.7% of participants stated their company offered training to help personal growth. 40% stated they had a mentor who communicated with them authentically. Almost 33% stated they did not have a mentor at work. 26.6% stated their company offered clear and attainable bonuses for measurable increased performance, while 14.3% were unsure. Survey results also indicated various workplace issues. Over half of the survey participants stated their company's high turnover rate affected the company's overall goal. 30% of participants responded unsure when asked if they knew their company complied by OSHA guidelines. Survey analysis. Mentorship is crucial to the growth of an employee beyond the responsibilities of their job title. Overall, respondents said they did not have an effective mentor. Companies invest in training for required duties, corrective training for mistakes, but seem to lack training for personal growth. Employee skills may not be utilized, and employees may be less optimistic about their future with the company. High turnover rate is an issue with employees. Optimistic employees are less likely to voluntarily quit. Optimistic employees are more likely to be productive. Increasing optimism with the above methods will increase productivity.
Interviews were conducted via in-person and phone interviews, and were recorded in order to ensure accuracy when quoting their responses. Interview questions mainly focus on the company's mission statement, workplace culture, benefits, incentives, and training opportunities, while relating it back to the results of the surveys. The goal for the interview process was to find out which methods, if any, managers utilized to increase employee optimism in their workplace. Overall, the interviewed managers all agreed that optimism was important to the success of their companies. A common response provided in these interviews was the importance of taking care of the individual employee's stress level and utilizing benefits and incentives to encourage employees. Some of the more unique responses mentioned by managers included taking care of mental health of employees via weekly emails and checkups, providing a workplace with high levels of freedom and no position titles that encouraged everyone to feel responsible for the success of their store. Training and mentoring was a major point mentioned in every interview, as managers did state that they make an effort to ensure employees weren't overwhelmed while on the job, while also providing an opportunity to grow within the company.
If a company wishes to increase their overall productivity, it is critical that they set up a workplace that ensures morale is in constant improvement. As demonstrated, employees take on tasks with higher levels of engagement when they are clearly communicated tasks, properly trained for them, and incentivized to meet set goals. All of these factors contribute to a positive attitude in the workplace. Employee safety and wellness, teamwork, effective communication, job satisfaction, mentorship, continuous training, incentives and benefits are areas that have been studied through literature. Based on survey results, popular methods for increasing optimism are employee benefits and training. Managers have been following the trend of increasing optimism by improving these areas. In conclusion, when an employee feels optimistic about their future, they will work more efficiently and productively. It is in the best interest of the business or organization to strategize appropriate methods for boosting employee optimism. Investing in employees will ultimately reward the firm with increased productivity.
This is a true story set in a city HR office. A spearphishing scam was sent requesting that HR send all the private employee information for the city. HR sent this information without any hesitation or questions, and the spearphishing attack was successful. The city had to pay for damages, could have suffered negative public relations, law enforcement had to get involved, employees' privacies were violated, and many other damages were ensued. The HR employees and the HR employees manager eventually resigned due to the incident. To say the least, workplace optimism throughout the entire company was negatively affected.
And even from the city manager. Let's take a look what that is. Please send all W-2s for all employees. Thank you, city manager. That's easy. Let's send that over. There you go.
Let's review what just happened. HR got a legitimate looking email with a request significantly out of the ordinary. Good communication would have required follow-up to ensure clarity and intent, but the skip was stepped. Employee morale was damaged, money was lost, reputations were hurt, jobs were lost, employee trust in the city's competency was damaged, and let's see this whole situation played out again with just a single change of a single action.
An email from the city manager. Please send all W-2s for all employees. Thank you, city manager. It's strange. Let me give him a call. Yeah, hi, city manager. This is HR. Yeah, the kids are doing great. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, so do you want to send all the W-2s for all the employees? No? You don't know what I'm talking about? I received an email from you requesting for all the W-2s for all employees. That's strange. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it up with the IT and figure it out. Yeah, I'm glad I called and confirmed with you. Yeah, thank you. Have a great day. Bye. Alright. Let's get that out of the way.
Let's review what happened this time. HR got a legitimate looking email with a request significantly out of the ordinary. Good communication required follow-up to ensure clarity and intent, but this step was not skipped. Communication was framed in a direct but friendly context. The city manager's intent, or in this case lack of intent, was clarified and no harm was done. Good communication thwarted an attack against the city. The proper handling improved the reputation of HR, no damage was done. Proper office communication improves workplace optimism. In this case, not only did it improve employee productivity, but it avoided significant loss.